Layering is basically the objects and how they're stacked on your spreadsheet here, or pictures, or in this case shapes. I have three colored shapes here. I have a blue square, yellow, and a purple or pink square here. And as you notice, when I click through them, the layering or the ordering is one's behind the other. In fact, there's three layers going on. First, the blue shape, when I click and drag that, it's on the first layer, it's on the top. Behind that's the yellow and then the pink square. I'm going to go ahead and hit undo. And if I want to change those layers, because I can't see one, or I'd like the red to be in front here, all I have to do is go ahead and click on it, select it, come up here on the Format tab, come to the Arrange group, and I've got two choices. I can bring it to the front or send it to the back. Well, it's already in the back, so I want to bring it to the front, right? When you click on the drop-down arrow, it gives you two options. Bring it to the front or bring forward. Also for sending it to back, send to back or send backwards. The difference between the two is when you send backwards or bring forwards, it's going to bring it or send it backwards one layer at a time versus all the way to the back or all the way to the front. So if I click on front, it pops it right past the second layer and brings it to the first layer up on top. I can also right click and say I want to send it to the back. I can send it backwards, which means it'll go back one layer at a time instead of all the way to the back, which I click on, it goes all the way to the back. Let's try it again. Right click, bring to front, let's bring forward, brought forward one layer. So now it's the second layer and the yellow is the third layer, the layer that I really can't see here. Then I can right click on the yellow layer and say I want to bring it forward one so it's back in the middle here. Okay. And of course I can click on the first layer here, come up here to the Arrange group. I mean, you can right click or come to the Arrange group, and let's send it all the way to the back here. So now it's behind both these layers here. Now let's say for example that I can't see this layer. I know there's a shape, it's blue and it's behind these two shapes, but I can't see it. You may run into this once in a while. If you can't click on it, you're not going to be able to bring up the options to bring it forward, right? Well, all you have to do is click on one of these shapes and then use your tab key. When you tab, it'll go to the very next shape, and you can just keep tabbing through. You can hold down the shift key and hit tab and it will go backwards. The whole point being is that I want to keep tabbing until I get to that shape that maybe I can't access because it's hidden behind another shape. And then once it's selected here, you can see it's selected at least part of it here. Then I can go ahead and come up here to the Arrange group and say, go ahead and bring it all the way to the front. It pops back to the front, the first layer here. Okay, next let's talk about grouping. I want to be able to group all these shapes together so when I click and drag they all come together. I'm going to hit undo. Of course I could go ahead and select one shape, hold down the shift key, select the second and the third shape, and then click and drag them. But the problem is when I click off and I want to move them back at a later time, I have to go back and shift click each layer or each shape to be able to move them again. Look, I only want to do this once, so after I select all the shapes here, then I can group it so I don't have to select them again. To group it, you can do one of two ways. You can come up here to the Format tab to the Arrange group and click on the group drop down arrow and select group, or you can, when in doubt, right click and go down to group and left click. It groups it all together so it sees all these shapes as one shape here. Then I can click and drag it, click off it at any time, click back on it, and the shape's still there as one shape. The shapes are still counted as one shape, grouped. Now if I need to change the colors of each shape, for example maybe the pink and not the whole group of shapes, then I want to ungroup it. You can do that by coming up here, clicking on the drop down arrow, or right clicking on it, coming down to group, and then left click on ungroup. And then I can click off in a blank area, click on the shape, come here, make one of the changes to it here, whatever colors or shape styles I want. And then when I'm finished, I can come up here to the group drop down arrow and regroup. Okay, I don't have to reselect everything because it knows that once I've ungrouped it, it has a memory. It says, look, you've ungrouped this, I can regroup it for you without having you shift clicking each shape. Okay, next, let's say I want to make some copies of this shape. So to do that, you can use the shortcut key, Control D, as in duplicate, and once you do that, it creates a duplicate of the shape. So I have one here, I'll click and drag it, move it down, and then I want to resize it. So I'll come down here in the lower right hand corner, hover over that resizing handle until I get a two-way arrow, and then click and drag and move it in. I can do it vertical or more horizontal, or proportional. By holding down the shift key, it pops it to its proportional size and then just push it right on in. So I get a smaller sized 3/4 box. Click and drag that down here, and then with this selected I can do Control D again, and there's another duplicate and another duplicate, and then when I'm finished I can just click and drag, and let me scroll down and put these over here. Finally, if I want to be able to line these boxes all evenly up, let's say the furthest box to the left, just go ahead and shift click and select the remainder of the boxes, come up here to the Format tab and click on the Align drop down arrow, and let's go to the left. And what it does is it picks the box that's furthest to the left and aligns the other two up alongside it here. Click off in a blank area, looks good. One other note is that if you don't like the grid in the background because you're just dealing strictly with shapes here and you don't need to see the cells, you can turn those off. Just click on one of these shapes to get its Format Contextual tab back up. Click on the Align drop-down arrow and turn off your grid lines. Now these are just the basic instructions on how to modify, format, create, insert shapes and pictures and so forth. If you want more details on how to modify or format your shapes and pictures, you want to watch the training videos on PowerPoint. That's more of a visual presentation than Excel. Excel, we want to focus on the numbers again. Also, Word has some great tips in there as well, that once you do it in Word and you get the basics down there, you can also do it up here from the ribbon tab here in Excel as well. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, as soon as I upload a new video, you'll be notified instantly, and you can do that by coming over here and clicking on my face. You can also click here to support me, so for $2 a month, you can have access to over 2,700 training videos, all ad-free, and for a few bucks more, you can have access to my exercises, instructor notes, quizzes, certificate of completion, and a whole lot more.